my INS summative museum for World War I. This is the first room. Over here you can see I've put up propaganda posters. So the first room is all about propaganda posters and how they were used to make the men of Germany and Britain sign up for the war. This is my poster. It's a recruitment poster. This is the summary of my poster. And then this is my second poster. Oh, wait, no. This is the other recruitment poster. And here's what I wrote for that. This is the reality of war. So I put the propaganda posters and the reality of war in the same room to show the difference between what the government is advertising and what actually happens. So this is what I wrote for this poster. And then for this one, soldiers with gas masks. This is another reality of war, so that's what I wrote here. And then here is no man's land. Give it a second. Yes, no man's land. And I didn't write anything here. Oh, yeah. I just wrote a simple thing. This is a diagram of where no man's land was, as well as where the trenches were, and the support and reserve trenches was too. I didn't write much because, as you can see in the poster itself, it gives you a lot of information, and it tells you where no man's land is, where all the other trenches were during the war. Here is no man's land, a picture of it, and here's a short summary of what the picture looks like. So that's my first room, and then we move to the second room, which is here, the weaponry room. Very fast. Okay, so this is a gun. This is a model of a gun that was used in World War I. Here's a machine gun, a very accurate World War I machine gun, and this is what I wrote. These are World War I aerial bombs. These are World War I aerial bombs, and you can see what I wrote here too. It's very short. And this is a handgun. Give it a minute. If it will click. Okay. It's not showing my description, but this is basically one of the handguns that was used in World War I. If your rifle had run out of bullets and magazines, then you'd use your small gun over here to kill enemies. Normally, soldiers would lose their lives because this would require you to be closer to the enemy, and it would end up in them dying. This is a very big image. Yes, this is a very big image of the rifle that was used, not the rifle, but a rifle that was used in World War I. And you can see what those rifles look like. So that is my second room. And now this is my third room. In my third room, you can see this is where all the uniforms and all the weapons that were used in World War I as well. So this is another weapons room, but this has uniforms as well. This is the British soldier uniform during World War I. You can see they have loads of pockets. This is very practical for grenades or for anything really that fits in these pockets. These bags are also very, very practical because you could put your magazines in there, and the sling for the water bottles are very practical too because it's lightweight even though it has water in it, and it doesn't disturb you during wartime when you have to shoot people and stuff like that. Here is a German uniform. Here's a German soldier in uniform in World War I. You can see they have very less pockets, which means they carried everything on the backpacks instead of these pockets here, unlike the British. And their helmets too are more metal than cloth, like here. And this could be a hazard because the metal that was used for helmets were pressed into thin sheets and then molded. So if they get shot through here, there's no protection, they die instantly. This is this is what the British water bottles look like. You can see it's more rectangular-ish, and there's a cork for the cover, and there's a shoulder strap, so it's easier for the soldiers to carry. And you can see the German water bottles are different. They're more oval shaped, and this is more soft cloth instead of this one, which is more hard cloth. And they use a different cap for their bottles, and they don't have a strap, so they probably keep it in the backpacks or in the front pockets. This is a World War I German tank. I'm not very sure why my descriptions aren't coming up, but I have written a lot for these. But basically, so so this is a German tank, and it has a lot of crosses all over, and it says Wotan, and that is something that the Germans put on their tanks, which is in relation to a pre-Christian god in German mythology, and he's closely related to Odin, which is a Norse god. And here is what the British tanks look like in World War One. You can see that they're more eye-shaped, and they have a space on top for people to sit there. But an impractical thing about this design is that the more people that sit here, if you go to war with this, if this is just rolling around on the battlefield and you have people on there, the soldiers on these could lose their lives before they've even shot a single bullet into a German soldier, which is impractical because you'd be losing men for the dumbest reasons, being that you created this impractical design. Then, if we turn to this side, you'll see this ginormous cannon. This is a World War I cannon. This is very generic, so it's not specified if this is what the Germans used or if this is what the British used yet. That's in a different room. So this is a very generic World War I cannon. Here is a hand grenade that was used. This style of grenades was used during World War I as well. This is a British soldier helmet. You can see here that it's very grimy along these areas, and it's kind of faded, the color, which shows how much the helmet itself has been through, which also tells you that the soldiers probably had to go under mud or in forests and all grimy places. And this is what a German World War I soldier helmet looks like. And you can see it's more scratched up than the British one, which also suggests that they also went through some pretty grimy places for this to happen. Then we go to room 4. In room 4, it's very basic. So room 4 is very basic, but this is a little bit of continuation of room 3. And here you see gas masks. This is what the German gas masks look like. You could see they were just one piece, and this container of sorts here is what secured the oxygen in here, so that when these people had to gas places, they put this on. And because the oxygen in this area is already in there, the clean oxygen, and it's filtered through anyway, extra filtered, so it's cleaner and you can still breathe. This is what helped them survive those gas attacks, and this is also what helped the British survive their gas attacks. This is what the British World War I gas masks look like. You can see they have a separate tank for their air. You can see they have a long tube that's connected to the mask itself. Now this would be a little bit impractical, because if this were to get punctured because you're running away, let's say you're in a room, you gas the room with a deadly toxic, and you have this mask on, you wait until everyone is dead and you run. But what if this gets snagged on something sharp and you're still in proximity of the gas, which means that you could die. If you're still in that proximity, you'll die because your oxygen is going away. So this is a little more impractical than the German mask. But moving on, Moving on, you'll see here I have two, not really life size, but two 3D tanks. This is the German tank. So this is the same as the image of the German tank that I had showed you. And this is a 3D model of the British tank. I'm not sure why my information isn't being shown, but I did write a lot for all of these artifacts. Okay, now we come here. This is the trenches. So this is what the German trenches look like. Just here. This is what the trenches for Germans look like. They have twigs here, sticks. It's I'd say the bottom is more neat than the top, and maybe this is for practical uses so that they don't get hurt here before they even go out to fight. But I'd say that this is kind of, it's not that protective because assume